everybody. Welcome back to the Giant Beastcast. I'm Vinny Caravella. You're listening today, Friday of all days. Well, no, it's Thursday. Really has felt like a Friday for a long time. We used to go on Friday back. Time forgotten. It is November 5th or November 6th. I figured looking on a Friday, episode 285th. That's a lot of fifths. The Giant Beastcast. I'm joined by Alex Navarro.
Yep, I'm here. Welcome back to me. Hello.
Hi. Welcome to Abby Russell.
Hello, that's me. I'm here. I have some very exciting news.
Okay.
That I know you guys. We have a look who's back.
Sandy.
Wonderful, it's back. My best friend Sandy.
Abby Russell is
How'd you get here?
Holding up a miniature Sandra.
My miniature Sandra Bullock cutout that was at my desk. I FaceTimed with someone in the office. I got some of my items. They shipped it all in boxes. They came very quickly.
Wow.
And while I was FaceTiming with this nice gentleman, he was like, "Do you want this, lady?" I'm like, "You better believe I do."
It's the whole reason I called you.
You have to be like, "Hey, yeah, I want everything. Yeah, just everything. Yeah, I know it looks like trash, but yep, that too. I'll just sort through later. Everything, please."
Who was it? Was it Eugene? Was it Carlos? Who was it?
Carlos,
Okay.
who was very nice.
Yes, he's very nice.
Yes.
Carlos is the guy who got my PS3 when I needed to get that out of the office.
Oh,
so
nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Shout
He
out
did
to him.
grab my GameCube.
Also here, Jeff Bacalar on a new microphone. Look at you. Let me hear you.
I'm doing okay, but now something else happened. Now I'm a little hot again,
You
and
are
I
a
don't
little-
know why.
That's good. You sound good,
That's
though.
is that better?
A
That's
little
better.
hot.
We're learning.
You're a
We're
little
learning
hot.
together
Stick
what the
it down-
limitations
stick
of
it
this
down a
mic
little
are.
bit. You're moving around a bit. So if the local recording of this is messed up, we'll say it's not necessarily Bacalar's fault, but you know where to point your finger.
Sure.
Yeah. We are
People are
here.
saying you're low, Vinny.
I'm low.
You sounded low when
Hold
the
on.
music was live, but you
Hold on,
sound okay to me
let
now.
me turn my microphone around. That's a little pre-show. That's a little pre-show fun. Here, I'll turn my microphone up. There we go. I was peeking before too. Folks, we're gonna get started with the Giant Beastcast, or as I like to call it, another hour and a half to 2 hours where I can close all the browsers on my computer and try to not just refresh them over and over again. Today. Hi, Sandy. Sandy gets what I'm saying. Sandy, the expression on Sandy's face is like she's about to laugh, I think. I'm calling that. Somebody said a good one. She's supposed to have a serious face, but somebody farted or cracked something, and she's like trying not to laugh. Yes.
See,
Alex.
I read something different. I read something different in that face. I read that she is maybe stifling a laugh, but it is not a laugh that is genuine. It is someone said something that was intended very obviously to be funny around her, and she's trying to feign that it's funny, but she's just like,
like,
yeah, that was good.
Humoring them. Okay.
Yes, that was a good joke.
Well, what's fun is I'm sure she got no money for when I bought this. I'm sure Getty Images or whoever licensed it out.
Well, you bought like a tiny little thing of her?
Well, I won it in a prize for playing enough of that banana game.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, the banana game.
So
good for you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Those tools are still there too, which
oh yeah.
Boy. And they're like a mechanics tool set, which is useless in that studio. It's just like a bunch of like 800 sockets.
Doesn't do anything.
Doesn't really do it.
You know, these, like,
I don't know. I don't know. I don't really need all those socket wrenches. But here I'm going to say this for today's show. Today's show will probably be a little bit shorter. We got a lot of stuff on the back end of this. If you didn't see it today, at the time of this recording, there was an Xbox X Series X and S stream that you should go check out. I'm sure by the time this goes up, that archive will be available. You can go check out Brad and Jeff Gersman and Jan and Ben. I believe we're all on that, taking a look at some Xbox Series X and Series S stuff, which is very interesting, I find. And we'll probably talk a little bit more about that backlog. I don't really know if there's that much more to say. What would you say?
I mean, like the review embargo it came up this morning, and you know,
is there anything
I just
else
don't
to
know
say?
what else. Yeah, that's my point. Like, I don't know what else there is to talk about with this thing. I think it's very clear what it is.
Yeah.
So
it's also difficult to review a box that you can barely play any games on, or at the very least can barely show any games on at this time, because there's still like weird embargoes around that stuff next week.
Yeah. You know, and we'll, I have some other kind of like, I guess, new discovery thoughts to maybe talk about, maybe in comparing the two.
Mm-hmm. But you can't compare the two yet because
Yeah,
there's another
right.
embargo we're waiting on.
So
Right. There's a couple things I can say, but yeah, for the most part, we're waiting for the PlayStation 5 embargo to lift, but I can't even tell you when that's gonna be.
So yeah, we have some stuff that has been taking up some of our time behind the scenes. Unfortunately, we can't promote it or we can't talk about it because we're in the embargo season. So some of the stuff to talk about this week we can't get to that we've been doing this week. But before we get to what we have been playing and what we can talk about, I want to mention Extra Life coming up on Friday. It started already. I think Lang already did 24 hours of it. Dave Lang. You can go donate. And if you want to participate, you could do that as well in the Giant Bomb team. I don't have any of the details in front of me, which I should have had in front of me. But we will be streaming, I believe, starting Friday afternoon, East Coast and Pacific time, whatever afternoon is around there. It's going for around 24 hours with different people coming in and coming out. Abby, you and I have planned to do more Little Hope stuff, which I really want to play.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure Leg just played through the whole thing too. So get ready for a Little Hope
shot.
Yeah, double shot of that. We're trying to do some Among Us, get some people together for that. And you know, other people will be swapping in and out for those things based on availability and time and headspace and all of that fun stuff. I played some Teardown recently. Teardown is in early access on the PC. I played it. I streamed a little bit of it yesterday. Abby joined me. Teardown is a game in which you are a criminal and you do criminal things in this kind of Minecraft-ish with nice mods looking world. It's very destructible. So the point of the game, if you haven't seen any of it, is you go into a place, it'll be like steal these cars, but there are alarms set up, so you have to puzzle your way through to setting up the perfect heist so that when you trip the alarm, you only have 60 seconds to do all the rest of the objectives and escape. So you break through walls, you destruct. Can I use that as a verb? You destruct
You can.
Okay, you destruct the
You
environment.
but you can.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
Destroy.
destroys a good word. You destroy the environment and kind of set it up in a way that makes it the most efficient for you to do your thing. And I think it's a lot of fun just in the openness of it, the kind of
the destruction of it.
Well, yeah, the destruction for a purpose, you know, like you're sometimes it feels like a lot of work, and I think one should quick save often if you are if you spend a lot of time setting up the perfect thing and you think it's going well. I feel like my problem is I feel like I could get into a bad space because you cannot reconstruct something if you have destroyed something and you're like, oh, I really should have kept that building up. You have to restart the whole level. So, which would be a restart anyway. Anyway, I'm enjoying it a lot. Teardown is the name of it. It is not out yet. It's in early access. I have found running it at the graphics settings I have, which I think I'm running at a full or ultra or whatever they want to call the highest. When stuff gets haywire, it chugs a bit, but it's A, it's an early access. B, I have the settings all the way up. So a lot going on.
It seemed like a surprisingly relaxing experience from what I saw of it, because it does have sort of like you got to sneak in, you got to heist, you got to make sure you don't trip the alarm, but it did seem sort of relaxing in the sense of like, let me just bust through this wall and just drive this car into the ocean. Like before the alarms go off, it's kind of chill.
Yeah, it is.
Agree?
Yeah, yeah. Before the alarms go off, it's kind of neat, and the maps are the one that we tried on that stream was fairly large, like one of the bigger maps I tried, where it's to the point where you're kind of taking cars to get to other cars. It's and there are vehicles, construction vehicles. It seems like most vehicles are interactive. We drive a boat, drive that. Yeah, so it's pretty chill. The music is pretty chill until you set off the alarms, and then it's 60 seconds to get out of there. And it's neat, and I got a couple of upgraded tools, and I'm not sure how much is in that early access, to be honest, but what I've tried so far is neat, and I'm still discovering how to do certain things, like how do you disable or bypass or work around some of these alarms, because right now some of it seemed impossible, but I'm sure there must be ways to do things that I'm not discovering yet. The other thing I played was a little more satisfactory. You can check out that stream, the archive of that stream from yesterday, in which I showed Abby my absolutely stunning and fabulous factory. She was pretty much floored
I'm
think.
still thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, how did he get those things put together?
Yeah,
Wow.
just wow.
The
Wow.
roads,
Look at this.
just
Look at this.
can't even
I really wanna
articulate it because I'm
try,
so blown away.
that teardown thing, man. I watched you play it for maybe 20 minutes
Yeah.
in our little thing, and I dig it.
In our little thing, which was on election night, Jeff and I just kind of on Discord, and he's like, "Wow, man, what are you doing?" I'm just like, "I'm trying to play Teardown." I just started sharing the game with him while we just talked, and then that's where you told me that you were going to order chicken parm, and that's where I said, "Well, that's a good idea. I should."
I mean, no one's ever gonna be like, "Oh, chicken parm was a terrible idea."
I was like, and then I realized I said this during the satisfactory stream, like, well, I could just do that. I don't have to you know, we could make that happen. So
like I said, you probably have 11,000 Italian restaurants within
I think
arm's reach.
one of the rooms in my house is an Italian restaurant, where
Yeah,
I'm cooking, baby.
You know, my Call of Duty friends and I made a chicken parm pact for election night. We were just gonna drink, eat chicken parm, and play Warzone.
Oh man!
And only 2 out of those three things happened. We were just all panicked in a way that we couldn't bring ourselves to literally just turn the PlayStation on.
I know.
Anyway,
I played some Deep Rock Galactic, but for a few hours it turned out not to be enough time. And then eventually it was just stuck again, refreshing screens and stuff. And the chicken parm lasted about 30 seconds. I should have gotten about 7 of them, but I did not.
Oh, I fucking love chicken parm, man. It's so good.
Did chicken parm tell you a joke? Did chicken parm just post a sick meme or something?
This is the face. This is the voice of a man who just has nothing left right now, and it's just like, fuck it, man. Chicken parm, it's good shit.
Chicken
man.
parm, you're all I got left in this world, and you're good.
And then someone on Twitter made a GIF of the boom mic flying away, and I just saw it.
That's a pre-show thing. People won't know what that is, but
you know, we're gonna be all right, everyone. We're gonna be all right.
We should. I wish maybe I could put that as the thumbnail. I wish that's good. That's good stuff. I don't know if I could. It always breaks the site or it does break the site. It gets a GIF as a thumbnail is fun for about the first time you load until it is sitting on the page, spinning in perpetuity. So, good for them. That's funny. Anyway, what was I talking about? Chicken parms, satisfactory, teardown, extra life. What else is? We did that quick look for that Transformers game. So you can go check that out. Some other stuff I've been playing. Abby's been playing as well. Can't talk about it. We'll talk about it next week. Yeah. Alex, let's talk about the stuff you can't talk about.
Yes, I am currently wielding a trifecta of 3 different large video games, all of which will be coming to next-gen platforms next week when those consoles launch. By the way, my Series X is on schedule to show up on Tuesday.
Congratulations.
And my PS5, that's right, we're up to the 5th one, will also apparently be shipping on time. So I'm going to get to celebrate the next gen with all of you. I'm very excited.
You got the disc one?
I got the disc one, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to be right there with all of you. But right now I am sending out my Xbox One X away in style by playing chunks of all these video games before I immediately download and load the saves onto the next platform and then never touch that fucking thing again.
Yeah.
So 2 of those I can talk about right now.
Which
one? One of them is Dirt 5.
Okay.
This is the 5th in the Dirt series from Codemasters. It is their off-road racing series, and they made another one of those. Like I wish I had something really meaningful and cool to say about this game other than the driving in the vroom vroom is good, but the driving in the vroom vroom is good. It looks pretty solid all around. It doesn't run flawlessly on the Xbox One X. It is like when you put it in performance mode, it has some frame rate dips here and there. When you put it in visual detail mode, it seems like it is not really hitting 30 frames all the time, especially when there's a lot of weather effects on there. Possible a day one patch might fix some of that stuff. Hard to say. It just doesn't feel fully baked.
And you're again, you're playing on current stuff. We'll see how it is on next gen stuff.
Exactly.
We'll have more of that later coming up when it's available.
Yeah. It's the only driving game that is coming to the launch of next gen, and it feels like a game. Yeah, and it feels like a new driving game that exists primarily to be on those platforms in November. Like it's good, it's solid, but it is not necessarily doing anything that is like super exciting to me, the Dirt fan.
I liked the build your own course stuff. I don't remember seeing that level of
That is
course
new.
editor in the other Dirts, but a lot of that mixes together for me.
Yeah, it's the version of it at least that's in this game is new, and it seems like there's a decent amount of weird shit you can do with that mode. But
is there?
I don't know. Like,
they're still classified as rally games, right?
Yeah, I mean
Okay.
it's a rally cross. Like there isn't a lot of like straight up rally in it because they have the what the fuck do they call those games now? The ones that are like the hardcore rally games that Codemasters also puts
Dirt
out.
Rally?
Dirt, maybe it is Dirt Rally.
I don't know.
Actually might be Dirt Rally.
Yeah.
I don't remember all those names. Like ever since they changed it from Colin
yes.
McRae, I've lost track of which ones are which. So, but yes, I think you're right. It is Dirt Rally.
Okay.
This is the much more arcadey, more like here's your nitro burning funny
Yes.
cars, in addition to like the actual racing cars that you know.
So it's less like turn left, right turn.
Yes. There's no helpful Scottish person
Okay.
yelling in your ear that you're about to go over a crest.
What else can you talk about?
The other one I can talk about is Yakuza 7, Like a Dragon.
Like a Dragon.
I talked a little bit about that one before when I had preview build. I've been playing it from the beginning now. I'm going to say 10 to 11 hours into it, and it still feels like I've got a whole lot of runway ahead of me with that one. So this is the new game with the new protagonist, Ichiban Kasuga, who is basically, the way they establish his character is that he seems like the kind of dude that Kiryu would have beaten up in the first chapter of another Yakuza game.
Okay.
Like he's a low-level grunt in a clan that is not necessarily in great standing with the Tojo clan. He is just kind of a dirtbag who happened to run afoul of some Yakuza and then happened to fall in with a different Yakuza family because he idolizes the guy who runs it. And then a lot of bad shit happens to Ichiban.
Oh.
He goes to jail for a long time to help out his patriarch, and then he gets out and everyone has abandoned him, and he is kind of forced to scrape together some kind of existence while also trying to figure out why everyone betrayed him. So this game is a total redo of the battle system. It is no longer a beat 'em up. It is a turn-based game, which is partially explained away by the fact that Ichiban is a huge Dragon Quest fan.
Wait, is that for real?
Yes, that is part of his character development.
Sees battle happen.
This is how he sees the world. And there's actually a point in the story where he starts seeing enemies as archetypes.
Oh, wow.
Like they just start changing into different versions of enemies as the battles go on.
Okay.
It is. So again, I've still got a lot of game left, and it is a slow start. It takes a long time to get going, even for a Yakuza game. But the story, I think, has been gripping pretty much so far. I've been very invested in what goes on with Ichiban and his party of dirtbag weirdos. It's a game that seems to be very much about people who are kind of on the low rung of society.
Okay.
And not just in the way that the Yakuza and, criminal organizations inevitably bump up against that kind of stuff. But these are like low rung people who are suffering even well beyond the level of like main characters have in this series. Like Kiryu, for all his, all his tragic backstory several times over, he's been the fucking chairman of the Tojo clan. Like he has lived the high life and the low life. He's kind of been all over the place. Ichiban is like scraping shit together at the very beginning. Like there's a point where like he's literally living in a homeless encampment because his body was essentially dumped there, and those people like nursed him back to health. And, like one of the first things they teach you about how to make money in that game is like, okay, you got to start scrounging for change. You got to start looking under vending machines. You got to start, collecting cans. Like it's a hard scrabble life. And he's got a few people working with him, but like, there's a lot going on there. And it's working for me. Like it's working very well for me. I think that the storytelling is really solid. I think that their way of kind of addressing stuff like, the demonization of sex work in Japan. Ichiban was born in a soap land and has like a particular affinity for people who work in the sex industry and like, is very supportive of them.
I don't know what a soapland is. Is that
a soapland is basically a place where men go to be bathed by attractive women in
okay?
Japan.
Okay. Well, thank you for explaining.
Fascinating. That's like
Thank you.
Red Dead.
Yeah. And like all that stuff is, at least from what I've experienced so far, I feel like it's handled pretty well. Like they're treating their characters with a lot of care. They definitely, like they're making some political statements about society in Japan here, as the series often does, but I feel like it's being done well. And also, I got to say, I'm fascinated by the idea of a JRPG that is essentially just a celebration of dirtbags. Like, people who are like, it's just, there's literally there's a character you meet early on who is like a mad scientist, and he gives you a Pokedex for scumbags. Like his whole research is you going around is like trying to find the different archetypes of villains in the game. And so every time you meet up a new kind of villain, you fill out this Pokedex that he gives you of different kinds of scumbags.
Like what's an example?
Yokohama.
Like what's an example of a type of scumbag? Like what are we talking?
Okay,
here?
So early on, like you're obviously fighting a lot of low level enemies. There's ones that are just like the street punks that Kiryu would often beat them up. One of them is called a steamed punk here.
Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
There's a variety of different perverts, including a guy who is just bathed in body oil and constantly sliding all over the place. Like he keeps slipping over and falling over when you try to beat him up.
Wait, what is that one called?
I forget the exact name for him, but they all have, most of them have like pun names.
Okay.
So.
All right.
So I still got a long way to go in this one. The battle system, like I haven't seen the full breadth of it at this point, but like other than maybe there just being like a little too much random battling, which is always kind of an issue in these games, I feel like the battles have been fun and challenging, especially when you get into like the actual meat of like the big story battles. I don't know. There's a lot to like here. And I think if you were nervous about whether they would do a non-Kiryu game well and make these characters seem like they matter in the larger Yakuza universe, so far it seems like they very much have.
So we'll have more on that next week.
Yes.
Some coverage of that and some other stuff that you cannot talk about yet, but we will.
There's one more that I can't talk about.
Hopefully have some stuff coming up tomorrow that, again, sometimes we just can't promote stuff that we're doing, but it's, hey, try and stick around tomorrow.
Yep. That is the most enthusiastic promotion I've ever seen.
I don't know. Can we even mention what we're doing? The language
I
on
think
a
I'm
lot
allowed
of
to say.
Okay, the language on some of these embargoes this cycle, the language on some of these embargoes has been particularly dense in ways with multi-tiered embargo stuff. I feel like it's not usually this bad, but I feel like a multi-page embargo and stuff. So if you feel comfortable saying what it is, go for it. But otherwise, we'll just say upcoming stream.
You know what? Just for the sake of letting people guess at home, let's just say that it's a franchise that I have done a lot of coverage of on this site for the last several years. It is one of the only big November games kind of remaining, and you can probably guess what it is.
You bet your ass. You bet your ass.
Yeah.
Bet your ass.
Cool. Real subtle. I like it.
You bet your ass in Creed.
Oh.
Yeah. Rocky movie.
Valhalla. All right.
We're so stupid. Let's go.
What else, Alex? Is that it? I mean, that's a lot.
That's what I've got right now. Yeah.
All right. Abby Russell, take me to the world of virtual reality. What's been going on?
Yes. I figured right now the best time to hide away into a virtual world where I cannot look at my phone or check anything or speak to anybody was right now. So I've been doing that. I've been playing more Half-Life Alyx. I kind of don't remember how much I've talked about it on the podcast.
I don't think you really have talked about Half-Life that much.
Oh, okay. We should definitely talk about it. I love it. I think it is phenomenal. It's definitely like hands down the best VR game I've played. It is so immersive. It does have some things that like take me out of it, but I'll start with the good stuff first. So like it is so immersive. The sense of scale is really incredible where like you kind of start out and I think it's like a future dystopian like
we
Russia
did talk about this. Yes. We did.
Yeah.
And you were liking it at the time. Yes, we remember this. Yeah.
Yeah, there were like big monsters walking around like stomping on the roof next to you. And like that's exciting and cool. And also, I think the thing that's most exciting, especially as I'm getting deeper into it, is like how they use the gun system and like your hands in the game. Your hands feel so real. So like you do this thing where you kind of like target an object with your hand and then like suck it to your hand and then you have to catch it. which is like what I want to do in real life, but in video games. So it's very satisfying. And sometimes I'll be clumsy and not catch it, which is also fun in a different way. And then also, but the guns are so good because you have to like hit a button to pop out the empty magazine, and then you have to pull. It's all in your backpack, which is just you just like grab behind you and then you put it in. Then you put in the magazine. You have to like cock the gun, and like for shotgun shells, it's similar. You like pop it open and then you like put in the top, and then you have to like pop it closed and then cock it. And it is like when there's like someone coming at you and you have to like fumble with this stuff, it is so intense and so fun and cool. It like feels so visceral in a really fun way, which is like what I want out of VR. Like I really want to feel like I'm like in the world and in the environment. I'm definitely getting that with this. There's also a part.
You're doing it in a like a seated thing. You're not doing the whole like walk around.
I'm standing.
You are. Okay.
I don't walk around very much. I'll like duck down and I'll like grab for stuff, but I don't like walk around. I stand. I do it in this office, so I don't have a ton of space, but it's like enough.
Okay.
But I'm standing and I don't walk around. I like do the teleportation, which has been very good. It's the motion stuff has been fine. I haven't felt queasy or nauseous in any way, which is nice.
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt your flow, but I was curious.
Fine.
You're not doing like the room scale, like I got a whole room and I'm
no, and you can't. I wouldn't recommend that for this game anyway, because you are in larger environments. So you're gonna have to do the teleportation anyway. It's not like you're going from like one room to one room to one room.
Okay.
But while it's also just fun stuff where like I found like a hard hat and immediately put it on, and like apparently protects you, which is cool. And you also find like these like face like breather masks, and you can like see them in your peripherals in a way that feels like, oh, I'm really wearing a breather. And it also helps like the face crabs or whatever. None of that stuff's fun. When like shit's jumping at you, it feels very scary. And like later on you go into this like these like sort of dark sewery tunnels. They give you a flashlight and it feels so spooky and real when there's like shit jumping at you and you're like trying to shoot and like trying to reload and fumble with your gun. It's like it's very fun and it feels really like you're in it, which I think is why it becomes a little bit frustrating when like there's a loading screen and it's like that is like the least VR thing. Like even that now in regular games, I'm a little bit like, what the fuck is this loading screen in the middle of like a thing? It feels like going from like an arcade thing to an arcade thing. And I think it's just sort of like a passover from the original Half-Life, which is like at this point like a 20-year-old game or something, right? So like
roughly.
I think there's some of that which like can feel a little bit antiquated. Not a huge deal. I get why it's a big game, but it's also just one of those things where I'm like, cool, open a door, go to the next room, and it's like, wait, what's happening? Oh, it's a loading screen. It's like a little bit weird and jarring considering how immersive the rest of the game is. There's also parts sometimes where I think I probably mentioned this on the last podcast I talked about, where it feels a little bit like, which I think is just, this is a general VR issue, but it can feel a little bit like an amusement park ride where like you're standing through the ride and you see like this tableau that they made of like, ooh, aliens like doing this or like this thing over there, and it's like the lights are cool and the fog is cool, but you can't touch it, you can't interact with it, it's on the same loop. You just kind of sit there and watch it. Like there's even stuff early on, like how in Half-Life when you can like throw a can at a dude, at like a guard. I feel like it's like a classic Half-Life trope. There's a part where there's like, right? Isn't that a thing early on? I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay,
I remember doing that.
Sure.
But I remember in this game, early on, you see these guards and they're like cans on the ground. I'm like, sick. I'm going to throw a can at them. And I do. And there's no reaction.
Oh, well, really?
I'm like, what? Like, what? Of all things,
they're well trained,
like,
Abby.
that is the thing. Like, you know what I mean? Anyway, I am overall really loving it. I'm, a few hours into it, but it feels really immersive. It feels cool. It feels like the future. It feels like this is what VR can be. Like, it feels like an experience that is very well catered to VR in the sense of like the guns and like the environments and like using the controllers versus games that I feel like try to be like, I'm a real game that's just put into VR. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, well, the controls are for a controller and I'm trying to use my hands. So, that's kind of what it feels like. It feels like a really full use of the game.
Like from the ground up VR game.
Yeah.
Right. That's not just like a flash in the pan. Is how I'm going to describe this game I've never played. What controllers are you using?
I can pick them up right now.
You can and you should.
They are like the Rift.
What are these ones called?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Touch something. And they look like little, like they kind of look like, they feel like you're holding like a gun with the way the triggers work. And you got like a button for the like middle finger, you got a button for the trigger fingers, and you have the A, B, X, Y buttons on either controller, and then 2 joysticks.
Okay.
And then they have like little like covers on them so you don't like break your hands.
Wait, what? That
basically.
doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So with the is that the one that does multiple fingers, discrete fingers? I can't like how many it does.
It doesn't
like
have
a trigger
5 fingers. It
Okay.
has like 2 fingers, and then then your thumbs. But something that is kind of neat is because of the way the cameras work on the VR,
Yeah.
because it has like the pass-through cameras,
Yeah.
it can see when my finger's out, but not on a button. So like it can see when like my thumbs are up versus my thumbs are down, and even if I'm not hitting buttons.
Is that not the
which
sensor
is like
ring?
really cool.
Is it the ring not detecting that?
Oh.
Oh
I
yeah, I
don't
think
know.
that's what
Is
is
it?
happening. What the hell is
Really?
it called?
I forget what they're
I just
called.
figured
too.
these were like plasticky, like, hey, you're hitting shit, so like
No,
make sure you
I
don't break
I
your
think
hand.
That's the point of them.
Yeah.
Wow, cool. Well, it's fucking rad. It's very cool.
Either way, yeah. No.
Whatever it
You
is,
heard
I
it
don't
here
know.
first.
So yeah,
Um,
the more you talk about this, the more you're making me want to get into this the whole VR
It's
thing.
so cool. I'm telling you, Vinny, it is
But look,
so cool.
if you look behind
so
me, that shelf is
accessible.
gonna come down. I am gonna destroy anything in this
I
house. It is
know.
like
There have been a few times where I've like whacked a wall. It's like now that I've done it enough, I know like when I first put on the headset and I figured out how to like draw, because you can like draw your play area, which is really cool. And I
The
figured out
ghost is
how to,
knocking,
like,
Vinny.
yeah,
I
I'm
can hear
sorry.
the ghost.
I'm
Like,
sorry.
what is
I don't know. I
happening?
don't know what is happening up there. The
The
dog put on
marching upstairs.
dog put on her heels. I don't know what is going on.
But you can like draw your play area, and I figured out, because for a while I was like, I guess I drew it wrong, where like it would always start me, and like every game would start me like turned around. I'm like, I want to face that way, and I figured out I have to start drawing where I want to face at the start of each game. Anyway, but I now know to like do this, like put my arms out fully before I start, and I can't touch anything, and I'm like, I'm good, because I don't really walk around. It's just like ducking and then like a lot of swinging. At least when I play the games I've been playing so far. But never been a better time for VR, Vinny. It's the best. It's
Listen,
cool.
I hear you. I gotta spend some time and look at the VR options out there, the controllers. Somebody in the chat said the buttons have capacitance on them, which knows when your fingers are on them. Maybe the rings aren't sensors in it, but they're just for tracking. Either way, they're cool. They're cool looking controllers.
Right.
I have
They're
two.
cool. They're comfortable.
Yeah.
I will say one, when I'm like really swinging it.
Yeah.
I don't know if y'all can hear that. The like
Cannot.
I hear
battery inside of
I hear
it
a
is
little
like
tinkle. Yeah.
loose in a way that is like takes me out, but whatever. I still haven't sent it back. I haven't been just using headphones, which transition to a different game.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should, because I think this would be best with headphones. Bjork has a VR album that, well, it's like don't laugh at me, Jeff. Why are you laughing?
Not. It's just a funny sentence. Bjork has a virtual reality.
That is like the least funny sentence.
She
That's like Bjork is the
like-
person who would have the VR. Like
Yeah, I get
Bjork
it.
would
She
upload her
is-
consciousness into VR first.
She is a
100%.
queen of innovating ways to sell products. And
Yeah.
this is another way she did it. It is not well reviewed. It was originally listed for $30. I bought it for $20, which I think is like how much they sell it for now. Still maybe a little pricey for what it is, but it's kind of neat. I basically played through it. I listened to all the songs that are on it and then was like, that was pretty cool. And then immediately uninstalled it. Basically what it is you hop into this like sort of like Icelandic looking world where it's like clearly someone took like one photo of Iceland and then like did like a PS2 style mapping on like rocks, in like VR. So it's like they're real jaggy. It doesn't look realistic at all. It's fine. And from what I can tell, it seems like all the music videos that came out with Volnicura are on it in VR. And sometimes what that means is like one of them is like a 3D, like 360 video, not 3D, but like a 360 video, which you can watch on YouTube now as it is. And you can just do like the YouTube thing where you like scroll through and flip around, which honestly I think is maybe a better way to watch it. Because like watching it in VR, it's not really set up for VR. So it all feels a little bit blurry. And like it doesn't have that like nice depth of field that you get with VR, where like I see Bjork standing in front of me singing a song, but like if I move from to the left or the right, the background doesn't move behind her. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't look around her, which is sort of like the whole thing about VR. So it's like immediately sort of like this weird flat thing, which is a little bit nauseating, but mostly fine. And it also just the sense of scale is weird because it's like clearly like a bubble camera. So it's like her head's real big, her feet are real small. And also it seems like she's like singing with her giant face like 6 inches from yours, which is fine. But also like personally for me, the idea of being alone in a room with someone who is singing a song at me is like my nightmare.
Cool.
It makes me want to crawl inside of myself.
No, I think that's cool. I think that's really
Does
cool.
she talk to you
Yeah,
after?
this is like-
Did she ask her?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
Like,
Yeah,
if I
what did
could,
you think?
I don't know, like if I could I think that is cool. Like if I could somehow just like walk on stage with a band that I really like and just like watch them play and like
There's a
get up close
difference
to like the cymbals and
between
stuff and
there's
put
a
my
difference
face right
between
up to
that.
that.
There's a difference between that and like having like this immersive, like, wow, I'm on stage with this band I like, and here's the crowd, versus like I am standing here while someone is looking me in the eyes,
Yeah.
singing a song at me while their hands are like doing this. You know what I mean? Like it's intense in kind of a weird way,
Sure.
but mostly fun. It like made me laugh. And some of the other music videos are like I'm standing in a thing with like some sort of 3D animated thing around me, and I'm kind of watching it through a screen that's a little more like manicured. And then another one, Mouth Mantra. If you haven't seen the music video, which I assume no one here has, it's like basically like a 3D generated, like twisty version of her mouth. It's actually not 3D generated. It's like they made a giant model of her mouth and they had like a 360 camera and then like twisted it all around in a crazy way. It is a really cool music video. It is absolutely the most nauseating, disorienting thing to see in VR. I immediately was like, I'm done with this one. And they had like, I think 2 or 3 music videos of hers that were like fully done for VR, but kind of in a weird way that was like, you guys don't really know what VR is or like what people want from VR, which is fine. So it's sort of like you're on tracks that move. And like one of them was really cool. I think it was her song Family she did in VR. It was pretty cool. And there's like this giant Bjork like dancing around. And then you have these like, so this is like the one game where they gave you hands for it. But they put, it was like a hand and a forearm, like this virtual hand and forearm, and you can like your buttons sort of control the hand a little bit. You can like wave them around, but the way they did it was like they attached the bottom of the forearm to the top of your controller. So it's like I have like a foot of extra arm
like,
instead of putting like the fist into the controller and having the forearm be where my forearm is. Yeah. So it's like weirdly very long, but that one was pretty cool. I mean, it's a lot of just like watching her avatar like dance around, which is fine. And sometimes there was one where it was like, looks cool, she's got this like weird alien tendrils all over her head, and then they like kind of fade away and you see her face, and it's like the most PS2 like sticker stuck to a model face ever. Anyway, it was fine, it was fun, whatever.
That's a Bjork experience. Here's what would be super neat. What if like every once in a while, like once, nobody would know when, but it's actually Bjork on the other end, like in there on the other end with the headset on, and it's like
Bjork, are you sick? Live? Why do you look so weird?
No, it's like, you know, like she's in the virtual space and she like talks to you and is like,
like Journey.
Yeah, like I'm actually here. Like I
would love that.
And then she gets creepy. Like, I'm
trapped. I'm trapped.
I'm trapped.
Help me. How do I take the mask off?
Send help. I'm ageless. This is how I stay. I'm a vampire.
She comes out from behind the wall and starts whooping you like that reporter lady that she beat the shit out
of. That's right.
Yes. That's I would love that. If they had a VR experience of that.
You're the reporter lady.
If you say the words welcome to Thailand, we say welcome to Bangkok, that triggers it, and she just comes out with a fucking bag and starts walloping you.
I would love that.
Oh man.
Wow, what a fun game.
We're probably not too
album.
far away from that, right? Where people just take like memes and stuff and like, now you could be in your favorite little short GIF and just load them up. And
we're not too far away from a world where virtually Bjork can just beat the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. So that's kind of sounds like the opposite of Half-Life Alyx, where you have this amazing experience built from the ground up for VR, and you have this other thing kind of sandwiched into VR.
Look, I always respect you. I feel like she always tries the latest technology, which I think is cool and sick. And I also think she just like loves selling shit, which like, whatever, I support it, girl. But like, you know, I like that she tried this. I feel like most artists probably wouldn't even take that risk, clearly.
Hey, Bowie would have had a VR.
Effort. Who?
But David Bowie, would definitely be.
Maybe.
It was. I feel like he'd be in VR, living there right now. He and Bjork would have like a duo album.
I thought Bjork's her VR thing. It's neat. Probably more expensive than it should be. Whatever. I enjoyed it. I like Bjork. It was an interesting experience. Maybe I'll go back one day and like listen again. Probably not. A couple other VR. If I can keep going on my VR.
Sure.
Okay, I did Google Earth VR. Incredible.
I think it's terrifying, right?
No, I didn't find that at all. I thought it was so cool, especially like
It's
I went into
terrifying.
New York and was like, I could drag and pull and like I could like look at the places. The first thing I did, it's funny because like you have the whole world, right? Like I could go anywhere. And the
Yeah.
first thing I did was like, where's my old apartment? And I went there
Mhm.
and I like went to the street view and I saw my moped on the street and I saw like my old neighbors and I was like, it made me at first I was like, oh, amazing. And then I just felt so sad of like that was my apartment for 7 years and it just made me so sad. And then I like went to like our office and like all these other places. It was just like, really exciting to be like, I know these places. I know them.
It's all fun and games until you're just going down the street and wind up on the top of a 70-story skyscraper because it just jumps you up there, and all of a sudden you're staring down with you die in VR, you die in real life. So I hope you like that.
I didn't have any of that like weird wiggly jelly legs hype thing.
Good
I was
for
just
you.
like, this
That's
is
great.
so
Wow.
cool.
You're really brave. That's
I
cool.
remember
I wish I
Vinny-
could.
Vinny, I
Crawling
remember
on
you
the
having
floor.
to sit
Yeah.
down and just
Yeah.
like scoot little
Yeah.
bit by little bit. You're like, I don't want to do this.
I don't want
wanna
to do this anymore. It's well.
I think they have VR games. I need to look into them. I think they have some VR games that are designed to like make you feel that like scary heightness that I
Yeah.
want to try.
It was like, there was like one, like a walk across like a tightrope or a plank
Yeah.
or something on a skyscraper, and I don't know who needs that. Who needs that? You know,
Yeah,
it's
I
just,
don't know.
Who needs
I
that?
don't know. And then I also Beat Saber update. I still think it's the coolest game. It's the game I want to go back to every time in VR. But everyone is recommending to get the mods in and to get the games in. I did get mods and I downloaded them and it was like, cool, I'm gonna play these songs that I actually care about. And then it like fucked with my frame rate so much that like it
no.
wasn't triggering any of my hits. Like nothing
Oh.
worked. I had to like completely uninstall and reinstall the game. I don't understand. I don't understand what I did wrong. Mods are confusing. I don't understand how computers work. Just let me download the games I want to play. Let me just
Okay.
pay for them. I would pay for these songs. Like I wish they would just have a rock band style store. I would gladly pay for them in a way that like wouldn't break my game.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I've been playing a few other VR games. I haven't really gotten into enough of them to really be able to talk about them in any kind of cool way.
But you're
But-
loving this VR life.
I am loving it. I need to finish Half-Life Alyx. I need to like finish some of these games because now it's like the sort of kid in a candy store of like I have VR. Look at all the shit I can try. But I need to
Yeah.
finish Half-Life Alyx because I really love it and it's so immersive and neat. I'm having a lot of fun with it. One final thing, one
Uh-huh.
final game I played. I did play all of Man of Medan. I played it on Halloween.
Oh, you did? Okay.
With my best
Nice.
buddy Casey Malone.
Aw.
It was so fun. It was such a good game to like sit and play with somebody
Yeah.
else.
You did
it was
the,
like even very fun to do an all-in-one sitting.
you did
online
the
co-op?
the online
Yeah,
different
where like
perspectives.
we both see different perspectives.
It gets cool at the end,
Um,
right? Like they
it gets
do
really
they do
neat,
really
yeah.
neat things.
It was fun because Casey killed everybody that died. So it was fun being like Casey. The only I don't have a ton of complaints about it. We did play where like we were talking to each other
Sure,
the whole time, and I
yes.
think at some parts it's like isn't
Yes,
designed for that because
yes.
it is clearly set up where it's like, are they? Who are they? I
Yeah.
have to make these split-second decisions, and like it was easy for me to be like, hey, don't do that, don't do that,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
which is like probably not how it's intended to be played, but it was the most fun way for us to play it, so I don't
Right.
necessarily mind. I will say it does get to a point in the game where like you're kind of dealing with like what is real and what isn't real, and I feel like only Casey was experiencing that like, oh my god, I'm seeing two of this thing, whereas for me I just saw it how it was most of the time
Interesting.
just because of the characters they gave us, which is
Mhm.
fine, but it was also just a thing that I was a little bit like, oh, I wish I got to see some of that like weird kind of fucked up stuff, you know.
I don't remember enough about it to know the character split, but yeah, they're definitely what you said about them doing interesting things and talking. Like, should you be talking or should you not be talking? But
Yeah.
I feel like you could also, knowing that now, I feel like if you and I play Little Hope, I feel like I would just stay silent. Like I would just, I would try not to spoil stuff like that,
Oh.
because I feel like that it really does. You really do want or I did at the time realize like, oh, you kind of want somebody to make that decision, make that call, right? And be like, I don't know, I don't know. I'll just mute my mic. So yeah, those games are cool. I want to finish a Little Hope with you. Hopefully we'll finish it on Extra Life.
Yeah, I'm excited. I hope so.
I hope they keep going. I feel like that cadence and the length of those games and what they're doing there, I really appreciate
the
it.
tone,
It's
me too. I think the writing, yeah, like we've, talked about Little Hope sort of in length at this point, but like the writing and the tone of all these games, I feel like are so on point.
Yeah.
And like the archetypes and these tropes that they play with, I think are really well done and like sort of campy, fun gameplay where you don't care about the characters that much when they die, but you care enough to be like, oh, I want to keep him going. Or like, I'm making this dude like a total goof. Like one of the dudes we made in Man of Medan, I'm like, he's just like a flirty idiot where all he does is like just be horny. And like, that's fun,
Is it the
like
brother?
that's a fun, stupid thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really like those games. I feel like that and maybe like Life is Strange games, which are a little more like, or I guess is that Don't Nod? What's
That's Don't Nod.
Yeah, like they're sort of also doing that. Like, hey, it's a narrative driven. You make choices. The choices matter. And I feel like there aren't a ton of other places doing it. And I want more of those games because I love them. And I think you and me both have that sort of adventure game background where like it's so satisfying and it's fun to see it with like modern visuals, modern gameplay, modern style. It's not just the point and click.
And you can only keep that stuff up for so long, so I enjoy the length of it, and it also makes
Yeah,
the
I
stakes a
agree.
lot lower. Where you're like, this was they handled the story not great or whatever, and you're like, but whatever. It was 6-7 hours or 6 hours. So
yeah, and I feel like it would make it much more likely for me to actually finish it versus something like what was that game with Ellen Page?
Beyond.
Beyond, yes. I feel like that game was like long and like kind of, and I played all of it. I'm such a sucker for games where I can make choices like that. But like it got to the end where I was like, I don't think I would ever want to like play this again and try to like save everybody or try to do it. But like the length of games like Man of Medan, it does feel a little bit like, maybe I would, or maybe like I played it with Casey once, maybe Vinny, maybe you and I could play it again sometimes. Or so, like play with a different person or someone I hadn't played before from a different perspective. I would be more likely to do that with something like this that is only a few hours long. And I could play like a totally different perspective on versus, something like what was it? I forget what it's called.
Which one? Detroit.
The Ellen Page one.
Beyond.
Detroit. Yeah. Beyond. Yeah. Something like that.
I think the thing that that David Cage is like, David Cage, I think, wants you to appreciate the auteur, the narrative,
right? I like how goofy, stupid a lot of those games.
But I don't think he's supposed. I don't think he's going goofy, stupid.
I don't think that. Yeah, I don't think they are either. Like I think like Man of Medan knows what it is and like nails it.
You're in,
and, like,
you're out.
Yes.
You're homesick. You watch Man of Medan. You get Detroit from some like a friend who's like, you have to watch this, and you're like,
I know.
Okay, all right.
And like those games, I think are unintentionally bad in a way that I think like if they were trying for that and like they nailed, like if they went into it knowing what it was, it wouldn't work at all.
Yeah.
And like I don't know if they necessarily work now, but I think that they are fun because they are campy and stupid. And I'm like, boy, this is hacky as shit. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they bite off a lot. David Cage likes to bite off a lot, and then kind of sometimes feel like chokes on it a little bit. Of like, oh, you can't chew this. This is you just have a whole steak in your mouth. So, Abby, anything else before we get into? We'll probably just jump into the news.
No, I have one piece of news.
Okay.
So don't forget to call on me for that. Okay. It's very important.
I'll definitely call on you for that.
But that's it. I know that was a lot of VR stuff, big info dump, but I actually played a lot this week, which is nice.
Jeff Bakalar, before we move on to news, anything else you want to get to game wise?
Well, I didn't even go.
I know.
Like I didn't even go.
Yes.
I didn't even.
That's
so
why like, it's your turn.
Yeah.
We're not just like stopping off at the Jeff pit stop.
Stopping off
before we get back on the highway.
Yeah, that's right.
We're getting out of the car.
Oh,
we're gonna see what they got in the fucking food court.
Oh, Jeff, you're in the car. Jeff, you're in the car.
We're gonna walk the dog.
We're gonna go bring a dog.
We're gonna figure it out. Okay.
I'm gonna buy a bag of combos because that's when you do it. Is when you're at the.
You buy. It's a trail mix and beef jerky
and combos.
Look, get yourself some Funyuns, get yourself a cherry Coke, and let's fucking talk about your video games. All right.
But in the car though, in the car. Get back in the car.
Yes.
Buckle up. Here we go. Jeff Bakalar. What do you want to talk about?
Nothing really.
Let's talk about Funyuns then.
But these combos are great. I got the pizza ones. They're pretty good.
Oh, Jeff.
No, actually, I got some stuff. It's like some stuff I just want to talk about. I know my spot here is not always like the games and everything.
Uh-huh.
So I did get Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the pinball machine. It is a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Working out a couple of next gen pinball, working out a couple of the kinks, and I hope to be able to stream that sooner than later. There's this one thing that's wrong with it that basically breaks the game. So
Whoa.
I gotta fix. Look, this is how every pinball machine
Is it? Okay.
Oh yeah, like I've yet to ever get one machine flawless out the box. They're
Okay.
Okay.
they're
Huh.
incredibly intricate mechanical devices. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot going on. This issue is not like fatal. It is not like something needs to be rewired. It's just I gotta find like the right 3M bump on or something that's gonna fix this situation.
Weird.
So,
Okay. I know. I have no
Yeah.
idea about this world, especially modern pinball machines. No clue that there's maybe a little tinkering involved in setup when you get one of these.
Yeah, it's just like you got to break in that pair of shoes before you're running the marathon. You know what I
Okay,
mean? You can't
okay.
just pop them on and get going. Yeah, I don't really have much more to add on that Xbox Series X review thing. I think like the thing here, I'll say this: the thing that I am starting to not laser focus, but like shift focus on is all these games that come out that are at their core last generation games, right? Like they were basically like meant to be released on PS4 or One X, and now a lot of these games are getting these like optimization
Mhm.
patches and whatnot. And I'm just starting to see even now this early in the game that man, it is just going to be it's just I don't know, like the whole idea of like smart delivery to me is still I don't I feel like I'm playing a lot of games that yeah, they're smart delivery games, quote unquote, but they haven't gotten their patch yet.
Right.
So it's like, all right, you have this game. I'm not supposed to worry about playing the best version of this game, but but there are things that are preventing it from it automatically serving me the best version of the game. Does that make sense?
I think
Well,
so.
I mean, so the thing is, like, all of this shit is coming in as hot can possibly be.
Yeah.
Was what I'm getting from everything around the embargoes around these games,
Right.
around the systems, the constantly shifting dates, and like, hey, this patch will do this, but this patch won't do this type shit. Like,
And let me again reiterate for the millionth time, the consoles are not out yet,
No.
right?
no,
So like they
Next
come
week.
out next week, and when you turn it on, all this background fuzz, maybe that's not even an issue, right? Like maybe
Right.
it's not even a problem. So
maybe it'll
that's
be
something
different background fuzz.
Yeah, maybe it'll be other fuzz.
What do you rate it? Would you give it?
Yeah, how many refrigerators?
Yeah. What do we got here?
For Xbox?
How many
Oh,
heat?
now that
How many
the-
heat? How many heat sinks?
How many cooling fans?
how many nuclear
It's about
meltdowns?
a baker's dozen. About a baker's dozen worth
Whoa.
of,
Okay. Okay.
Out of
Yeah,
how
but you don't
many,
know
though?
what the scale goes up to.
Yeah, I mean, like, is that out of like
That's it. No,
100?
you stop there.
Could
Yeah. I
be
don't know.
could be 30, could be 70. We don't know. I
All
gotta
right.
convert. We'll talk
Okay.
about it later. I have been playing NHL 94 Rewind. That is the
Oh, right.
yeah. This is
I forgot this came out.
So they basically made like a NHL 94 version of 21 where it's like all the 21 stats. Like all the 21 players and all the
EA put this out as a
Yeah,
separate release.
yeah. I think it comes free with the game if you pre-ordered it, or I don't
Okay.
know how it's working. But I like it, and it's just it's NHL 94, right? Like it just plays exactly like it, but with all the new logos and teams and
Is there
whatnot,
blood?
And that's I haven't gotten to that point yet, but
The
it's funny
94
because
still had blood, right?
I think that
I can't.
I don't know
remember.
if that was the year they introduced it, but what's wild is I think in reality, my son loves hockey. He wants to play a hockey game. He can't play NHL 21. Like
Yeah,
he just
it's a lot.
can't do that. His hands, they're But 94, he's been able to pick up, and we've been able to play together, and it's been like a really fun thing. So that's really cool in terms of accessibility. I'm also playing Bug Snacks, and that's exactly where that
Yeah.
conversation stops.
That's right.
I'm also I wanted to tell you a bit of a tiny story about this. Like I got into the whole keyboard thing, and I tried to do a thing called a group buy. Do you know what that is?
Is that like a mass drop?
I think mass drop is the more like mainstream commercialization of what a group buy traditionally is.
Okay, sure, but
I
it
think
is a
group
bunch
buy-
of people
I
getting
think Ben's
together
try-
to get a discount.
Oh,
No, it's not
you're
the
talking about Big
discount.
Lots.
It's not the discount. No, this is not like a Costco situation.
Okay,
This is nothing like that.
okay,
All right.
This is basically where some independent person or group of people say, hey, we're gonna make a keyboard, right?
okay.
And they do an interest check, which is like they
do
take the
you want a
temperature of the
keyboard?
room.
Yeah.
It's like, do you even want this?
Yeah.
Would you like this? And I
Yeah.
think that, period shapes and sort of refines the final thing. Maybe there's
Okay.
prototyping involved.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something like that involved. Then the group buy starts, and there's usually either a limited amount of items of units that are available, and it just like opens up at a certain time, and it's a free for all. Or there's like an unlimited group buy where the I guess host of the group buy says, I will allow you to purchase as many of these as you want.
Kind of like a Kickstarter.
But there's just a window. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess it is a Kickstarter in a way. I mean, it's people who are paying up front, so they kind of have to like that's what's getting them over the hill, right?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I was really hot on this one keyboard, and again, I am a noob in this whole world, and I not mechanical keyboards, but the sort of group buying and that whole ultra intense scene that comes along with that hobby. And I was looking forward to this group buy that was gonna start on Halloween morning. And I followed all the rules, and I felt like I was a bit of a tourist in this theme park that maybe I didn't belong in. But it was still fun to kind of be a part of it and like get on the Discord and see people. And I'm like, oh, you guys are terrible in this community too, aren't you? And that whole thing. And that was kind of not unexpected, but eye-opening. And it's supposed to go to 11 a.m. The thing opens up, and the whole thing just crashes to the ground. I'm just like, oh no, what happened? And then there's, oh, hey, we screwed up. Come back in a half hour. Oh, it's shit the bed again. Oh, what are we going to? Okay, tomorrow. We'll fix all the bugs. We'll do it tomorrow. And it worked the next day. And I was in line in this virtual queue for about 15 minutes. There was about 1,200 of these things available. I was in there at 11 a.m. on the dot, and I didn't get one. Isn't that wild?
Nope.
And look, that's fine. I didn't make the cut. I'm not upset about not getting it. I'm just blown away as to how there was thousands of people trying to get this one thing, which I thought was pretty wild.
Was it did you know going in this was like a high interest keyboard, or were you surprised by
So I'll say this. They were like, hey, this group buy is gonna go for a week. Because I guess they didn't expect to sell more than 1,200 within 15 minutes, but that's what they did.
A follow-up question.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, let me follow up this. Let me follow up. Do you know if there were buy limits on it? Could you only get one?
One per.
One per. Okay. That is a little more surprising then. So people aren't just scooping these up for the secondhand market to kind of.
No, I mean, I think people do, because these things
can make
go
multiple
for
accounts,
thousands of dollars in the secondary market.
See,
I was just
seeing some of this in the Transformer scene as well. A lot of people getting in there and scooping up.
It's always been a thing there. It's always been a thing in comics, and it's happening again in trading cards, in like the Panini cards.
What's a Panini cards? That sound delicious. What is it?
Yeah, it's not as delicious. It's I think it's the brand of like sports cards, and there's like these. Yeah, the packs. You buy like a blind pack, and you get these like. Rare cards and whatever.
For what? Like what kind of like
they're just like special category of cards. I don't know. It's definitely a thing.
Like an upper deck hologram card? Like what do we like
like
Bobby Bonilla?
Like
he's like, wow, okay. All right.
Absolutely. And they rate them. It's basically like, the Borderlands loot box. Like the hot pink is what you really want, but like the other colors are kind of whatever, they're common. That whole thing. They do like soccer, football, hockey, basketball, baseball, the whole thing.
Why are they called Panini cards?
I think that's just the brand. It's just the
brand.
Is it like
that
pressed?
Is it like a bunch of layers pressed together or something? It's like...
You're asking more questions than I know, but the answer to it, that's just my.
If I don't buy it now, am I going to miss out?
Probably.
Yes, no. I gotta go. Okay.
I can answer all the keyboard things you might have. But,
what's your favorite key?
A space bar, man.
It's a real
Ooh,
big.
it's a good one.
It's a big one. What's your space?
I like control.
What switch do you want on your space bar? Like, what? Because some people get different switches on the space bar. So, what would you? Are you
Right now, the keyboard that I'm using has a switch called a Holy Panda.
You didn't go for the panini?
What's so holy about the panda? What makes it so
That's
pious?
what it's called, man. I don't know what to tell you.
That's the switch
I
name,
missed-
the holy
It was
panda.
chosen
Yeah.
by God.
Is
Yeah,
it?
it's tactile.
Is it black
You've
and
missed at
white?
least 2 opportunities here for good drug jokes. Someone asked you what's your favorite key. You're supposed to say a key of dope, bro, and then you're talking about fucking electric panda or whatever. That's drugs.
Holy
That's
panda.
drugs.
The holy panda.
Whatever.
Holy panda is holy panda is now legal in Jersey. I don't know if you knew that. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
just
Just
when
dead
I'm-
there. Just fucking.
No.
You got fucking. It's my
No
time
help.
up. It's my
No
time up.
assistance
Sorry.
here.
It's sorry. You got somewhere else to be.
I'm just
bathroom.
think the irony of like I'm now too paranoid to ever want to smoke weed again. And like, of course, that's didn't really
That
work
actually
out for
stopping
me.
you.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, recreational marijuana passed in New Jersey.
I am
So
gonna
you'll-
smoke one
So
more
you'll
weed.
actually get dispensaries in about what, 2 or 3 years?
Yeah, I don't. I think they passed
Oh.
that
New York.
the idea that
Mhm.
I think it was a race with New York to see who could pass it first, and then it passed here, but none of the like regulation is in place for it. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all this like fucking circling the drain with this, man. I mean, this has been like a thing for 4 years already. Where we're, like,
Overwhelmingly
just-
passed.
we're like ready to go.
I
and
can't
then
imagine
all
the
this, like,
person. I
cold
can't
feet
imagine the person
bullshit.
who was like, "Wow, I can't wait until this passes and I can smoke weed." You know, like, like what person
Well,
is being
look-
like, "I really don't want to break the law, but I really
say
want to
this.
smoke weed."
Look, I'll say this though, like the legal marijuana, merchandise is just it's like a better experience though. Like, the way you get your weed, I'm sure is, not insanely shady anymore in 2020, but it is nice to be able to just walk into the store and have that experience.
Hmm.
So I don't think I don't think anyone's like, finally, I can try weed, but I definitely think the quality of life in that hobby is definitely worth the wait for sure.
I wonder if I need to I wonder now if I have to get like high a bunch so I can talk to my kids about like how much you're supposed to have and like
Well,
like,
I think what's
Kind of like
good
focus
about
test.
yeah, like
you
this is
know-
a good like I don't really know anything about weed at all at this point, so I don't know like what
Vinny,
in 10
we
years or so. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I want to say we didn't have that kind of instruction when we were growing up, and I'm pretty sure we figured it out.
I never
we
did.
did,
I
but
was
we figured it out with a lot of nights where it was just like buckle up and hold
That's
on.
right. That's right.
I just smoked this shit out of a Coke can, and I am.
That's right.
And like, if my first, marijuana experience could have just been like, have this Tic Tac. It's not going to get you too fucked up, but it's going to put you in a really nice spot. Like that would have been great. But no, the first time I ever smoked weed, I was like coughing for 7 hours,
Yeah.
spitting up out of a car and being like, oh, man, the 60s must have been rad. Like, no,
Yeah.
I really wish someone could have just been like, here you go. This has been measured. Like, this is a beautiful thing. And it's not going to make you cough. And it's a real low dose. And you're not going to freak out right away. You might
So
get a little freaked
funny.
out and then you don't do it anymore, but it's not enough to get you really fucked
Right.
up.
We had like the
Uh,
same starter weed experience where I like smoked weed for the first time with my roommates who were big stoners, and we hotboxed in a car, and I got so high I like couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first time I was ever high, I was like, I mean, everyone like romanticizes that, but like, nah, my situation was pretty terrible.
Do
Like, it
people
was pretty-
romanticize it? I remember
mean, I
like
do.
having to like pace outside the car because I couldn't breathe for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And then like when you get that like can't breathe, it's like, whoa. Like afterwards you're like, holy fuck. I did eat popcorn with bunch of crunch in it because we worked at a movie theater at the time. We just like hung out and ate popcorn, and I was like, this is the best thing I have ever eaten.
And,
Yeah,
then
look,
like you're
here's the thing.
basically like you're airing out your clothes, you're popping Visine into your eyes, trying to sneak back into your house and be like, and
Oh,
then
I was an adult.
somebody's home and it was like, how's it going? Did you have a good time? Yes.
I'm going to bed.
Yes. Very.
Look,
yes.
as much as I think the advancements in weed technology are largely beneficial and good for everyone, and people should definitely partake of that stuff, I do still firmly believe that everyone's first weed experience should be hotboxing a bag of brown dried ass shake in the back of a fucking slug bug, smoking out of like a barely usable ceramic pipe with a Bic lighter you stole from 7-Eleven. That is the only way you should first try weed. It should be awful. It should actually strip away the lining of your throat the first time.
That's some like Ready Player One weed experience bullshit.
That's like basically saying today, like your first drink should be some bathtub moonshine in a cabin, which could make you blind, might not, but like you should be wearing just kind of overalls and sipping out of a bathtub, and that should be your.
I'm
first
with
experience.
Vinny.
I think now it's like I don't even know like things like the last time I had weed honestly is probably about 20. How old am I? Over 20 years ago, so probably 25 years ish. So like I don't know portions on edibles. I don't know like medicinal weed strains. I don't know what is clean weed, dirty weed. Any of that stuff, and I feel like
it's all pretty clean these days.
Is it so? Like I don't know what
dirty weed.
I don't have dirty weed. And like I don't know, like in the 15 or 10 years until are there going to be backyard parties now in the suburbs where like
there already are.
You give like your 10-year-old like, hey, you want to like you give them a sip of beer when they're like at the thing like, oh look at Mary, she just had a sip of beer. Are they gonna be like, hey, you want a little hit? Don't give the kid a hit. Give the kid a little hit.
I think if we're gonna have attempt to have a serious conversation about this, I think the difference is that because of the advancements in marijuana, it has become less of like this party, the act of doing it is less this social party thing, right? Like for me now, whenever I just like eat a little gummy, I eat like I know exactly what I'm gonna get out of the gummy.
You're practiced,
and that's it. And it's not like us around the campfire, hitting a bowl or hitting what I'm saying? Like,
I feel like
it's
the
a much different thing.
I know who smoke weed regularly, it's like, oh cool, I'm gonna sit at home and watch a movie and relax for the evening. Like occasionally it's like, oh, I have a couple friends over. Do you guys want some? Whatever. I don't care. Let's just talk and like eat snacks. If
I'm gonna party at this point, if I'm partying, I mean it's angel dust all the way. Obviously, that's the new party drug. It's the hot new thing. It's coming back.
I'm just hopping into a K-hole right away.
Yeah, Jesus. All those times.
Some of that illy.
I remember all those times that everybody's like, this stone's getting this weed's really getting on me, and then Alex is like, I'm fucking flying. I'm flying high. I just did an 8-ball. You're like, dude, we're just gonna relax and watch
the
a movie.
grout in this tile is very dirty. I have to clean it.
I think it's I think it's really interesting. I think I hope the stuff in Jersey it's not the first. It's I don't know what's the state of it in California. It's recreational. I know there are dispensaries all over.
Totally recreational.
What's the age? What is it? 18 to buy?
It's 21.
Is it?
It's 21.
I have no idea what the laws are there.
Maybe it's 18. I don't know.
I wouldn't know.
Probably
I'm
21.
38, so they didn't really. They carded me, but they did not say how close I was to the margin.
I'm assuming it's 21. I can't see it being younger than
Chad
18.
is all saying 21.
Younger than 21.
21.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So like that's the thing. Like I don't really think of it necessarily for myself. I think of it in like the going forward, because if it's 21, that means like what, like 14 or 15. You're probably having pretty easy access to that stuff, and just kind of understanding it more is what I'd like.
Sure, but well, from my experience with buying weed in California, it was like way different than buying like alcohol from a liquor store. Like that was easy as shit.
There's more
Whereas
of a
this was like,
process.
give my ID over. Like I walk around, I like tell them what I want, and they give it to me, and it's like in like a sealed zipped baggie. It was like way different than just like.
But growing up, like buying weed at 15 was super easy. Like it was not difficult.
Yeah, we all knew a dirtbag who was holding. Like that was the growing up American experience. But I think in like 10 years, when the states that have legalized finally get over this weird nervousness around like, are we doing this right? Is the federal government going to step in? Or we have to make sure everything was in the letter of the law. We will hit the point where it's just like liquor stores. Like you just wander in there and there's a disinterested guy behind the counter. He's like, I don't know. All that shit's in the back.
Right.
Like, we'll get there.
Once the taboo kind of eases a bit.
Dispensaries are going to be much nicer places
Yeah.
to be in. Let me tell you.
Anyway, that I'm glad we could talk about that part of. I didn't even know that was
How did
coming.
we get on this?
I don't know.
It just passed.
Yeah, it just
I think
passed.
you
we
made
were
a
talking-
joke about
yeah.
it, and then we had like a serious conversation.
It's interesting. Like again, the interesting part for me is raising kids in a state, in a world, in a country, hopefully, where it is not going to be an illegal drug, right? So like where it'll be something that is not, people don't get all goofy and like you find your kid's pipe and have to have like a really strong conversation. It's like like that's the interesting part to me is that. And as adults, I think we have lived in that world for a while, but like having kids in that world where you have to manage that, even though the age will be 21, the decriminalization of it.
We know what's actually going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Have you met my dad? Come on.
Yeah. Right. So I want to make sure my kids get the good shit. They get the good Transformers, good games, and the good weed accessories.
If your kids grow up the way I did and they have their first drink the way I did, which was a 6-pack of fucking Pabst Blue Ribbon and a bottle of peppermint schnapps in an abandoned barn when you were 14, they'll be just fine.
That's a lot for a 14-year-old.
Yeah,
I didn't drink it all by myself. I had friends with me.
I was picked up off of the lawn of my friend's house by the cops after we tried to drink a whole bottle of Absolute between two people, and when I was 15, and that was we just passed out and vomited on their shoes. The way that went.
I didn't start drinking until I was like 24, and I am glad I made that decision.
Hey, I turned out okay.
I've never blacked out, and I'm happy to say that.
That's a thing to be proud of.
Yeah.
Yes, I was a responsible adult who knew how to be like, I'm having fun. This is enough.
No, I was an idiot.
I do love when like adults just like do way too much and they just can't figure it. Like they have a night, I don't know, our holiday parties sometimes end in that way. And,
oh, it's happening.
Like lost a coat.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We're gonna go. We'll take a break here. We're gonna take a break here. We'll go. We'll come back with some news. We're gonna get through some of this pretty quickly, but stick around, folks. We'll be back for the middle chapter of the Giant Beastcast. I know.
Miss that jacket. I miss that jacket so much.
Stay tuned. Hello, and we are back with the Giant Beastcast. We're going to get into the news here. I hope everybody had a good time refreshing their browser windows frantically for any news and watching maps that are not changing. Anyway, what? I just refilled my water. That's all I did. We're gonna get
How big is it?
How big is it? Well, all the tallies aren't in yet, but it looks like it's
normal size.
Yeah, looks like it is going in my mouth. We are going to get into the news here. Alex Navarro, kick us off here. Kick us off with some news.
We got a few things here. So the PS5, we all know it's coming out next week. A lot of people have pre-ordered it. There will probably be more online sources available down the road here for people to get it if you did not get it on those initial volleys of pre-orders. However, if you want to buy a PS5 at a retail outlet, a brick and mortar store,
Remember
a physical
those?
place that you will have to travel to,
yes,
you can't do it on launch day.
Or I should add to this, as somebody who's just looked into this, or order it online for pickup, for day one pickup.
Yes.
Like if you purchase it and you happen to get in, they will not be. This is what Sony is saying.
Is this just they don't want people like congregating outside of stores, or do they just not have the stock?
I have the belief that if Sony thought they could get people to congregate outside of stores and do that during this holiday season, they probably would go ahead with that because those are always good optics for console makers. But in this case, no, they are not going to have anything available in physical brick and mortar stores at launch. I'm not exactly sure how far down the road it will be before those things start showing up there.
Yeah.
But at least as far as launch week is concerned, they will not be.
So they said their quote was, "In the interest of keeping our gamers, retailers, and staff safe amid COVID-19, today we are confirming that all day of launch sales will be conducted through online stores of our retail partners. And I think, and maybe I'm wrong, and maybe there's a lot of different information flying around out there. When I was looking, because heck, I'm not going to get it, so I'll just say it here. Those Walmart day of sales that are supposed to go up. I was really, this is how petty I am, thinking about not mentioning that so that people listening to this might not do it and I could get in there. But listen, the bots already got them all anyway. They'll go up a day of. I'm pretty sure they said they won't be doing like in-store pickup for those, even if you bought it. So you can't do that. So go ahead, go enjoy it. Go get your PS5. I'll watch.
But don't. But like actually get the PS5 to come to you because you can't go get one.
Yeah, I think some people are saying, or I saw some stuff say that it might not even be shipping that second wave until like December. So we'll see what happens there. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see how this goes.
Yeah.
Exploring avenues, let's say.
My thoughts exactly.
I'm exploring a lot of paths here, a lot of paths to PS5. Vinny's got
ins and outs.
Vinny's got a lot of paths to get to PS5. So we'll see how it goes. Alex, what else is on the map?
Let's see here. Friday the 13th, the video game. You remember that, right?
I do.
Yep. So development on Friday the 13th, which is a live service game, is about to sunset. There is a final patch coming sometime this month, and that will be the last big update for the game from the developers. Along that line, they will also be decommissioning their dedicated servers. People will still be able to play the game using like their own like non-dedicated matchmaking servers. And also like I guess the forums are essentially just going to be locked, like they're not being deleted. You will still be able to refer back to them, but you will not be able to make new posts on their forums. So essentially development is coming to an end, but the game obviously is not disappearing. It just will not have the regular support that it was getting beforehand.
Okay. I don't know if anybody here can answer this, but did that game pick up? Like, did it take hold in a way?
I think it got better.
Okay.
It was I remember being very rough at launch, and it seemed like there was an audience that stuck with it. I don't know how big it was, but there were people that were still playing it. And I do think they fixed at least some of it, but okay. I did not stick with it. I kind of fell off that one pretty hard, pretty early on. And I'm just going to say right now, if they don't release that patch on Friday the 13th in November, like, what are you even doing?
What are you
even doing?
Nothing else is going on. The thing that Abby and I played was maybe one of my favorite asymmetrical monster games. In Silence. Yeah, which In Silence, which did a lot of audio, like in-game audio stuff, which I thought was really neat. Maybe I just liked it because Abby was running around talking to herself while she was the monster.
I could not stop talking because the whole thing is like, if you make noise, the monster will hear you and find you. I could not stop talking. Vinny was very good at being silent just the whole time.
Well, the even better part was when you were the monster, just talking to yourself and you're walking around. You're like, I think I kind of need glasses. I don't know, and I'm just hiding in a corner, hearing the sound go left or right. Like, I think I kind of need glasses. I really need to go get something to turn my eyes. Just like stuck in a bush, which was a lot of fun. You should go check that out on Six Crazy Frights.
Six Crazy Frights. Yeah, that one was fun. I feel like. Well, that one, I also like that one because for the most part, it was really easy to get into. It didn't feel like overly complicated in a way that something like Dead by Daylight feels like. That game is like, if you weren't there at the start, it is impossible to get into. I have tried. There's so much to it that it's not going to happen. I don't know if Friday the 13th was the same way. I played a bit of it like right when it launched, but that was also when I feel like it was like the jankiest, buggiest.
Yeah, it wasn't that complicated. It just didn't play well out of the gate. It felt like it just wasn't there yet.
Jason also just like too strong or something. I don't remember exactly the issues with it, but I remember being like, this ain't so good.
I do remember thinking the balance was pretty off, even in addition to like the various bugs that were happening.
Alex, what else we got?
The last one I have here is just a quick hit here, but among the many, many businesses that have been fucked up by the pandemic, the arcade business, which is, primarily still a thing in Japan, has suffered as well. And Sega is going to be more or less getting out of the arcade business. They are one of the biggest, I think, arcade companies in Japan, but they are selling an 85.1% stake in their Sega Entertainment Bureau, which is their arcade
Oh, wow.
business, to a company called Genda. I don't know anything about them, but I think apparently they are involved in arcade game rentals and online crane games, so they would be the ones to pick that up. But yeah, they're keeping the Sega branding. But they are no longer going to be like majority owners in these businesses.
Is that what are we gonna get inside of our like Yakuza games? And like what's gonna happen?
I think
there?
that they'll still be called Sega Arcade, so they can still have them in there if they want to.
Do you have to pay
You'll
for
still
it?
be able to play Virtua Fighter 5 in every single Yakuza game that comes along, I'm sure.
Okay, that's really my only concern here.
Of course.
All right. I have a couple of quick hits here. We're not going to linger too long here, but I thought this stood out to me, and see if you can guess why. Among Us is getting a patch that adds anonymous voting and colorblind support. So you guys know me that I hate voting in anonymously, so that's the big one for me. No, it's the colorblind support.
You hate color.
I also am not a fan of people that can see different colors. I've always hated it. So yeah, that's a pretty big one. Hoping to play some more of that in Extra Life.
Surprised it took them so long. I mean, maybe that's a really difficult thing to do, but considering it's like all like the colors are a big deal when you're playing that game.
Well, keep in mind also they've had to pivot back to developing for this game and cancel their sequel.
That's
so I imagine it was just like, okay, what do we actually need to do to make this game better? It probably came together pretty quickly.
Yeah, and
very true.
Colorblind support is not just a toggle, right? There's it's something that sometimes when they have it, it's terrible also, and you're like, this doesn't actually work for me. It was a lot of fun. Colorblind, it's a cool way to live. What the other thing I had here was Far Cry 6 and Rainbow Six, the two big sixes. Rainbow Six Quarantine are delayed. The Ubisoft stuff delayed into 2021, which I didn't know that Far Cry 6 had a 2020 release date. Sorry, it's a fiscal year 2021, which runs from 2021 into 2022. Okay.
I think they had been targeting like their usual February, March for that game initially, but it sounds like it will not hit that.
COVID stuff,
Yeah.
That's I feel like we're going to see that. That's going to linger for a while. A lot of the delays there. So,
in much the way that COVID is lingering.
Yeah, but they still much the way that COVID continues. It was originally in February. So the Legion is clearly out. Still hitting its launch day. It's they have the launch day stuff. Am I wrong on that, Alex and Jeff? Do you guys know launch day Legion new console stuff? Is that right?
As far as I know, it's supposed to be.
So, yeah.
Okay, and I think Valhalla as well, unless that stuff has changed. I haven't talked about that stuff in a while. So there's that for Ubisoft. Bacalar news?
No news from me.
Okay.
I've been heads down on a very long and involved video that will come out soon.
Okay. Wait, we do have one breaking thing here. This one coming in hot. I'm getting my earpiece here. A little news from Abby Russell.
Breaking news.
Breaking news. Abby Russell, what is it? What out in the field? Abby Russell, what is going on here?
So last week, I don't know if you remember this, Jeff, this is for you. I was trying to encourage you to pop off the panels on your controller. Everyone was telling me, I'm out in the field just near a bunch of controllers. Yeah. Everyone was telling me, you can't do it. It can't be done. You can't pop them off.
That's impossible. You'll break it.
You can pop off the black part on the bottom of your dual sense. Yeah, crack it off.
Do it. Break it off. Break it off. Break it off. Break it off. Break it off.
Break it.
I'm like, it feels like I am gonna break it.
Here, I linked.
I just don't know why someone would think to do that unless
replace
they
it,
knew it
Because
personalize it.
they're gonna
Generation
make it
remix.
Here, I'm putting in a video into our thingy. Y'all can look at this link if you want to. It's a video of them cracking it off.
Cracking it
off.
Off.
One off of their thing.
Oh, I love watching videos of people cracking off.
So they just like if the part where you like They just yank off the black part, Jeff.
That's not a thing you do.
It's impossible.
I'm not saying it doesn't come off.
Hold on, I'm getting conflicting reports here. I hear it's not a thing you can do.
Oh, I turned
Jeff,
it on.
you do not know how to admit you're wrong.
Wow.
It has nothing to do with being wrong or right. What I'm saying is it's a very strange.
It does though,
thin
similar to when I had
piece-
a 5.1 surround sound, and you still don't admit that.
No, everyone knows you were lying about that. But I think what's wild about this is it doesn't seem like it's a piece that just, like at least for, usually there's like a push tab that comes out. This seems like
They seem to start on the little ends of the controller.
like here.
Like, yeah, they crack it off
I'm not
there.
doing. It's also the most subtle part of the entire controller. So like, okay.
Wow.
All I'm saying is I
Wow.
was right. Let's move on.
Why were you
Somehow
right?
I didn't get any
I said you
corrections.
couldn't
Usually
do it?
people will give corrections. Yeah, Jeff, you were like, no way.
Oh yeah, I stand by that.
I was also probably like, no way. And Abby, I was
It's a
wrong.
Everyone was.
I was
Everyone
wrong, and
was.
I'm big enough to admit it.
Everybody.
So
Thank
how
you,
did
Jimmy.
you know about it though?
How did I know about it? I
Yeah,
feel
like,
like I heard through the grapevine, like you can pop stuff off on the controller, and I was like, I want to see this.
What does
And
that mean? You
then-
heard through the grapevine.
I don't know. I just feel like I get knowledge from wherever, and then eventually
you're
it
losing
absorbs
me,
my
Abby.
brain
No,
in weird
stop.
ways.
Some-
And then I
cut
lose
this out.
the
Yeah, we're
source.
Click some links.
And that's fine, and it's great that like the one time you guessed and it turned out to be true is happening right now. Like that's great. But what made you like think that just this weird, and I get it, it could come off, that's fine, but just this weird little black part.
No, honestly, I thought the white parts were gonna fall off.
Okay, as long as the truth comes out.
I know you can pop off some of it.
I'm also watching this video now. This doesn't look that user serviceable. This kind of looks like somebody just yanked a part of the controller off.
It comes off.
But it does
Yeah.
come. It did come off.
Back on, but
Well,
it
I'm sorry
Technically,
to-
your skin comes off if you
Yeah.
work hard enough at it.
totally. So I'm glad we litigated this, and
you're wrong. You owe me
you
a lot of
know,
money.
community service isn't that bad if you bring headphones, so don't worry.
All right, that's the news, folks.
It is.
I don't know if there's anything else newsworthy in the gamosphere right now. Pretty news free. I'm trying to think of anything else that popped up while we were gathering news, but I can't find anything. So we're gonna take just another quick break here, and then we'll be back. But stay tuned. This will be a quick one. We'll be right back with some emails. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Oh, I should still play the music. Don't go away. I'll play it. Don't go away. We'll be right back. And we are back, and it is time for emails. If you have an email, send them into beastcast@giantbomb.com. That is beastcast@giantbomb.com. Abby, Russell, what do we have in the email bag today?
Okay, Alex, read this one from Aaron. Go.
Got it. Aaron says, "Hi, Beast Crew. I have a pressing question, and I figured I'd go right to the experts. I'm going to be doing a 12-hour Extra Life stream soon, but it is considerably longer than I'm used to streaming and talking out loud, narrating. I'd love not to annihilate my vocal cords. So that leads me to the question. What is everyone's pre and post care when you know you have to talk for hours on end? I'm supposed to have a routine for that? Shit, maybe that's why my voice sounds like shit."
I
Nothing.
don't have much. I think to maybe prepare like food, if you like have like a plan for that. I think the biggest thing for like a big long stream is to plan out the stream ahead of time.
Yes.
Like have an understanding of like what you're going to do in each segment, because I think they, at least in my experience, and granted we've been doing it with like big groups of people, they go by pretty quick.
They do.
And usually it's because it's like, okay, we're playing this game for a couple hours, playing that game for a couple hours. Like you chug through it pretty quickly. I think my biggest thing is less the prep and more just like allow yourself a break if you need it. Eat food, have water. The only times where I was like, this fucking sucks, and I wish I wasn't here, was when we were playing The Quiet Man right before lunch. And for whatever reason, it's like, we got to play through this whole 4-hour game right before lunch. And I'm like, just let me fucking eat.
For
Like,
whatever
it was
reason.
I'm like,
Some piece of art. It's back in.
I just wanted my Big Mac that was promised to me.
You were real. Yeah, you were
I
hankering.
was not having fun. I was so hungry.
Um,
The game is so tedious.
I
do
don't have
not
any.
have fun memories of the quiet.
I think making sure you're a little careful with your pre, just to make sure you don't have any tummy issues, is also a thing.
Mhm.
And make sure that you're in a good place there. But I would say during the thing is actually the thing, the harder part, which is remember to call out the donation links. Remember to have a good way for people to click to donate. Remember why you're there to, plug the donation stuff, because that also is very easy to forget to plug that stuff regularly, and make sure people are in there. Also, it seems like there's a lot of this is not your question, but I will say this, over the course of doing this for a while, some of those challenges really seem to work when you're doing like, hey, everybody at this time donate 12 cents or whatever you can, or something, and you're going to do those seem to really drive a lot of numbers, and those are always great. But yeah, I think pre and post. I think post, make sure clear your schedule if you can. Like that's sometimes you can't. But I'm always really hot and exhausted by the end of those, and I just don't want to be around anybody. I just want to go. I just want to go home, and I want to be done. And I usually try to clear a path with my wife when we're doing from home to be like, listen, I'm gonna go take a little nap. I'm gonna be alone for a little while. I don't want to deal with anybody. That's what I enjoy. I don't know if anybody wants to go out and party after a run or be around other people, but
No,
usually I want to turn up. I want to get out of
granted,
that
my
seat.
experiences, my experiences are maybe a little more specific than yours are as far as long streams go. But I can tell you right now, the only thing I generally want to do when I'm done is lay the fuck down for a while.
24-hour drum stream will do that to you.
Yeah, and I'm going to say right now, just for anyone who might be wondering, that's not happening this year, because there is no way I could play drums 24 hours in this apartment without someone showing up at my door with a gun. So I'm just going to say we're not doing that this year. I will return to the drum extra live streams when we have a venue where I can do that.
Apartment living. Yeah.
Jeff?
So, yeah. What do you got, Jeff?
Yes.
What's up?
Do you have any
Have you ever streamed a video game before?
I have. I haven't really done it for hours and hours.
Pinball.
on end.
What's this?
Yeah. I think if there's one thing I've learned about, even I guess this probably goes more back to, driving a podcast like every day. I think it's not exerting yourself when you think you need to. And maybe that's something you sort of learn over time, is how you don't need to scream. That's what microphones are for. So yeah, I don't know like if I have much more sort of
how about like having a backup microphone, maybe like 2 or 3 in case something happens with
if you can, just buy 4 of everything. just
a backup one,
and just make sure that's ready to go at a moment's notice, because you'll need it, because you're gonna break stuff all the time, constantly.
I think also standing, listen, people have different physical needs, but standing up once in a while, sometimes I'm sitting for a really long time, like my back or even my butt, my legs, it's like being on a long flight, you don't, stand up and walk around for a little bit. Take your bathroom break. Yes, you don't want to smell yourself. Nobody wants to smell of themselves. All right, next question here.
Okay, Vinny, why don't you read this one from Andrew, since I think you were the one to inspire it.
Sure. Got home not long ago and was just watching the live playdate Vinny had an quote-unquote adult moment where he decided he could just order chicken parmesan after talking to Jeff Bacalar about it.
How much does chicken parm shit come up already?
It's a lot.
A lot.
Well, it's delicious. It's a great sub. Wondering what everyone else's adult moments have been. For me, I've had a lot since I've moved out and now have my own apartment. But some of mine have been realizing I can just buy an entire pie. Oh, this person must be from New York. And eat what I want of it. I'm assuming that's a pizza pie, or is that a pie?
No, I think it's like a pie.
I think it's like a cherry pie.
Oh, I was thinking like a pizza pie.
No, you would probably say pizza before pie.
Vinny, but I remember the other day when we were talking about this, Vinny and I on stream, Vinny was like, "What you said something about like how much would you go for like a chicken parm, or what about like a meatball sub, or you have to say all these like real Italian foods." I'm like, this is not the thing that I'm like, this is the one I need.
Really? Oh man,
there's something about I crave chicken parm in a way that I don't crave anything else.
I don't care for sandwiches that much.
That's for sure. No, it's not a sandwich. It's a.
Sometimes it is.
That's a chicken parm sub.
Meatball sub is, which is
Yes.
another thing Vinny mentioned.
Meatball
Okay.
sub, delicious. Also, those big spongy meat. We talked about the big spongy meatballs before. What? Anybody else have a like? Oh, right, I could just do this.
I
Yeah.
remember when I first moved out of my parents' house, I was like 18. And I remember like one of the first, like, I had been, going to the grocery store a bit, but I remember after a few months of it, I was like at the grocery store and I saw like the candy at the checkout and I was like, I could just buy that. I don't need to ask anybody. I could just get one of those and go.
Yeah.
And like that was like a wild realization of like, I can do whatever I want.
It sounds like everyone goes through that where it's
Oh, yeah.
like everyone just has that moment of just like, food's just not gonna come to me right now.
but you can order
Turns
whatever you
out-
want.
I have complete autonomy over this situation,
Mm.
and I can do what I want. And that
I think
you have like an over realization of it.
I think the one that at least the one that's most vivid in my mind. I mean, I've had I think a number of these realizations over the years that were immediately followed up by "but you shouldn't"
Yeah,
is the
right. Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Just
Oh,
because you can, but you shouldn't.
Oh.
I'm like I have a little too much of that in the brain. But
You
the
should
one that
once.
you should once totally. But I remember after I learned to drive, and I had my own car, I was like, that was the period of my life where I was staying up late a lot, and it was just the middle of the night, and no one was awake, and there was nothing going on, and I was hungry, and I was just like, oh wait, I could just go to Taco Bell right now. I could just get in my
Yeah.
car and
Mm.
acquire a burrito
Hell yeah.
at 3 a.m. if I really want to. And I did. And then I continued to do that
Yeah.
for a while. And my health suffered a little bit for it, but it didn't matter because I was getting burritos at 3 a.m. whenever I
Yeah.
wanted. And it was fantastic until that train kind of dried up.
You got to balance out the responsibility stuff. You got to balance out the like, I got to do taxes now, and I've got to, be responsible and do all these things. There's debt and there's bills and there's other stuff. You got to.
That window's small though.
It is.
Cherish it.
Oh yeah.
Cherish it though.
But you mean between like not having that and having that?
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm, you get older and you're like, I can still do all these things,
Yeah.
but it would be ridiculous.
Oh, be ridiculous.
I'm not saying you shouldn't be ridiculous. You should always have fun, but there is something carefree and liberating about being at that, part of your life where
Oh,
you're
yeah.
just like, oh, I could do whatever, especially if you have a car or
Consequences.
something like that. That's amazing.
Uh,
That feeling is unbelievable.
I remember when I had a job that was in New York. It was like one of my first jobs in New York, and I was like, saving up money, and I remember thinking I could buy a plane ticket and I could just fly to another country, turn around,
yeah.
like go there for a day, and turn around and fly back. If I wanted to spend
whatever you want.
If I wanted to spend enough money, which I didn't have at the time, but like I could go to Italy, step off that plane, be like, I'm in Italy, and then turn
Get
around,
a chicken parm and then get right back on that fucking airplane.
get a chicken parm, high five some family, come right back around, and be like, now I'm back in New York, and you could just do that, and that has always been a weird thing, and I'm not sure if a lot of Americans have this, but a weird thing about thinking about people who live in Europe, and it's like, you could drive like a couple of hours, you'll be in another country. You can drive, from Germany across Europe and just be in different countries. And in the States here, that always seemed like wild to me, right? Like you can drive, for some reason thinking about states being different than countries, but like, if I gotta go to another country, I gotta go to Canada or I gotta go to Mexico.
Depends what state you're in, but yeah.
But like being able to be like, oh, you have a whole different thing going on here. Like it's.
I mean, we can drive to Montreal, which does feel foreign in a way that I think,
but it's a
maybe
trip.
going to
Like
Connecticut isn't.
I mean, driving to Canada from New York is from where we are in
It's
Jersey.
6
Let's
hours.
say it's more than that.
Yes.
It's
6
more than
hours. Believe me, I've done it half a
It's-
dozen times.
It's more than you're gunning
Yes.
it then.
I
Dude,
can't so often.
It is- from Manhattan to Montreal straight shot is 6
No
hours.
way. What are you like Dukes of Hazzarding over Niagara Falls? What do you have? That's
I couldn't be more clear. Look it up.
I remember when I did Buffalo a lot, and that was always at least 8 hours. I guess if you're going maybe not as
Yes.
far west.
Because Buffalo
Yeah.
is further away.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. All right, listen. Go to Montreal. It's a beautiful place.
Ugh, in a heartbeat.
It's a beautiful place. All right.
Love
Next question here, Abby.
Okay, Jeff, read this one from Yair, please.
If you were NPCs in Watch Dogs Legion, what would your recruitment mission be, and what special trait/skill would your character have? The ability to beat someone with drumsticks for 24 hours? Have your own pinball gun?
All right.
You guys got
I feel
this.
like we've
Would
had
you-
this one in like a couple of different forms, but this is a new take on an old concept.
How about this?
Of the email.
Your
Yeah, yeah.
answer can't be your shit. Like
Okay.
let's flip
I
this
would
on its
fling
head.
my shit at people. That is.
But that's the whole point of the Watch Dogs thing, is that every character has one trait, and that's their thing. That's the thing they use as a weapon. You know, the construction worker has a wrench. That's how it works.
That's right.
Right. I mean, I'm not just gonna go around with a hockey stick and impale people with
That's
a
not
sharpened
bad.
end.
That's
of
pretty
it.
good.
I mean, you could
that.
just break a different microphone over someone's head.
I like that. Or just like different mic stands. I have like a telescope and that's it. That's what I'm doing in Watch Dogs Legion. Watch Dogs Legion.
Unscrewing your mic and then it flings off and hits somebody in the head.
Yes, it's a complicated procedure, and the criminal or like my enemy must wait for it to happen. to
But
him
like
or her,
it's an accident for you every time.
yeah, totally.
I don't know for me.
Here's what I want.
I want to be
If we're
really
gonna
good at
do-
picking.
if we're gonna do a riff on the drum thing for me, I don't want to just like hit someone with drumsticks or whatever. I want to go as cartoonish as possible with it. I want to pull an entire bass drum out of my back pocket and just break it over someone's head like a fucking Bugs Bunny cartoon, and just have them like waddle around with a fucking big old bass drum over their
Okay.
head. They can't see what's going on.
That'd be pretty
and
fun.
it makes a big old like cartoon clong sound when you do it.
I like that. I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
Okay. Woof. This is going to take a while to get here. My special technique is going back to what we talked about before on what did you call them, Jeff? Group buys. I'm able to hack people's phones to let them know that the collection they're trying to complete, the bid is happening right now, and they have to get to a computer right away in the next 5 minutes, or they're going to miss out on the super thing that they all want, and it's all specialized for their needs. So to clear a room out of security guards, they all like look at their phone and like I gotta go. I gotta get on a computer right now. But the auction's about to end, and I'm a collector. I sell stuff. That's what I do. That's my thing. That's very
You're
Watch.
terrifying.
That's very. So you gotta clear the room out. It's very. I feel like it's very Watch Dogs. It's got like the internet in it, right? It makes sense. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm a woodworker and I have a nail gun.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
that's on
Yeah,
brand.
Yeah, there you go. It's a pneumatic nail gun that shoots nails. It's
Oh.
Yeah. That's all we want from you, Vinny.
yeah.
It's where
That's
I
cool.
expected this to go when I pulled this email.
Abby, what's yours? Abby runs up and puts VR things on you, and the people just freak out. Ah! It's Bjork. She's too close. Bjork's mouth is too close to me.
Yeah, Abby actually just puts on a Bjork costume and starts beating you over the head with a bag.
That sounds fun.
All right. Next question.
No more questions.
No more questions. We've answered
That's the
everything.
end of the questions.
We've answered every single question and no corrections. Folks, that's going to do it for the end of this podcast today. Like I said earlier, if you want to watch Jeff Gerson, Brad Shoemaker, Ben Pack, and Jan Ochoa look at some Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S stuff, there was a stream earlier today. It should be archived, I assume, will be up on the site by the time you're listening to this archive, if not already. We have some stuff coming up for Extra Life on Friday, on November 6th. If you're listening to this, we will have some streams that are not promoted yet, but Alex and I should be taking a look at something that we haven't been able to put in upcoming yet. We'll put another Giant Bomb stream for that after the hotspots. And if you haven't checked out Six Crazy Frights, go check out the entire back catalog. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, Bacalar, anything else going on? You're kind of done with the next gen videos for a bit, right?
Absolutely not. Nothing could be further from the truth. After this PlayStation 5 review video goes up, then we're going to be doing a PlayStation 5 versus Xbox post review video.
What does that mean? How you got to compare? They're going to be a winner?
No.
You're gonna
Wait.
throw him down on a concrete floor and have him fight? What are you doing?
Are you going to
I'm
see
gonna
who you can
which
pop the
one of
plastic
them-
off?
Right, I'm gonna try and unscrew them both and see which one falls apart
Gonna have
quicker.
a poke battle with them.
No, I think like so I did this before over I guess towards the end of the summer when we kind of knew everything we were gonna know about these things before launch. And I just think it's fair to kind of revisit that in this, sort of like the almost like the video essay style that I've kind of been doing lately, where it's like this is what you'll need to watch if you really just want like the quick take on what's dividing these two things. Because I keep saying this, I'm like a goddamn broken record with it, but I do think these two consoles have really departed in terms of like their philosophies, right? Their like core philosophies. So I just want to hammer that home a little bit, and then at the end of the day just tell everyone to get a 3080.
Wow. Not the new AMD stuff, huh?
Boring.
What's that?
Not the new AMD cards, huh? You're picking a side.
No, well, I might tell you to get a 3080 with a new AMD processor.
Okay, all right.
Because those apparently are pretty awesome.
I have heard. I didn't get to build that Threadripper machine I was going to, but
so I am getting a couple machines. What I am going to do another like real world comparison of, a new AMD, the 5000 CPUs with maybe a 3080. Obviously that's a lot of money.
it's a lot of money.
But I think there's this understanding that an initial larger investment is part of, doing that if you want to start, out of the gate in a really, sort of state of the art position. But I'm going to be doing a lot of like console to PC comparison stuff probably in December. So
Okay, happy holidays for you then.
yeah, thank you. That'll be my Hanukkah gift.
Alex Navarro, you will have some drumming after this?
Yeah,
All right.
usual time.
Usual time. Anything? I'm gonna hit the music now for us. Anything that you want to playlist, set list stuff that you want to tease here?
I threw a playlist together. I wasn't even sure I was going to do a drum stream today because let's just say this week's been a little emotionally draining for a variety of reasons. But I put something together. I needed the catharsis, so we're going to do it tonight.
Abby Russell, thank you very much. You're convincing me every week to get a VR thing. Sounds like you're really enjoying it.
You should, and then we can play VR together.
Oh man, Jeff Bacalar, thank you very much. Look forward to seeing some more of your videos about these new consoles. Always glad to have you around, and thank you for keeping me company during these long nights virtually apart on Discord. As you say, are you around? Yeah, I'm around. How's it going?
And then it's 1 a.m.
It's 1 a.m. Alex Navarro, thank you very much as well. Look forward to streaming with you tomorrow. Check that out. You bet your ass. Bet your ass.
What about my ass?
All right, see everybody. Thanks for listening. Staying out there. I'm glad we could give you this. We'll be back next week. What a week! The Giant Beastcast.